Hello everyone, welcome to the first podcast of Electronics Geek. I'm your host JBiz. In this series, we will be talking about the work culture in the corporate world, the challenges, the stress related to jobs, the skill sets needed to land these jobs, and by the end of it, we will also discuss about some tips, some tricks, some interviews, how to land these jobs. So, without wasting any more time, today I'd like to introduce the guest of our podcast who is working in Uber, and today he'll be sharing some of his life skills, how the work is going on, and what he did to land this job. Hey there, Saurav.
Hi, Merry
So,
Christmas.
thank you. How are you doing?
I'm a little down with cold, but I think I'm gonna get better soon.
Yeah, the seasonal flu seems to be getting everyone these days, right?
Yeah. I went on a ride, so that must be it. What it is.
Okay. So, without wasting any more time, let's tell our viewers what job do you do, where do you work, a brief introduction about yourself.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Saurav. I graduate from BITS Pilani, so I am wearing their tee right now. And I straight out of college, like I interned at Amazon briefly for 6 months. And then I am currently working at Uber as a software engineer. So it's been a year-long journey. I think it's more specifically, it's about 1 year, 4 months now. I joined in August last year of 2020, and yeah, ever since like I've been working in this corporate.
Can you tell our viewers what technology are you working on?
Yeah. So I'm a backend engineer at Uber. So basically, what we do is like we kind of work on having all of these services set up and maintaining the health of the service, like and adding more features to the service. So I don't think the language that I code in is not is that important, but primarily I work with Golang. So that's a programming language that was developed by Google, and I think it was preferred in our company because of the plethora of features that it offers. It's very scalable. It has some of the features that allow it to be a very good programming language, as in like you don't have to maintain a lot of threads. The compile times are much lesser, so it makes it really easy to code in Golang.
Can you also talk about the challenges, the stress, the schedule,
Yep.
how your day-to-day work life looks like?
So how it started, like I'll start from the beginning. So to be honest with you, like I have been onboarded virtually at Uber. So I've never like actually visited the campus, which
Mhm.
is stationed in Bangalore. So I'm currently working from home. But like I've had a bit of a experience at the office as well. That was when I was in Amazon. And
Mhm.
at Uber, like I was remotely onboarded. And so basically talking about my work life and when I log in, that varies. Usually I start around 10, but sometimes I may have to start early, but there is no one keeping track of time. And it's just the task that I have to complete that's more important. So basically, what happens in a software development company is that we kind of plan for the whole for 2 weeks. It's called sprint planning, right?
Mhm.
So we have this Scrum meeting in which we kind of have this whole setup, like in which we kind of decide as to what we'll be working on for the whole for 2 weeks, and then we kind of keep track of that in management software called Jira, and that is maintained by Atlassian, which is the company that kind of provides us with this whole planner sort of thing. So we kind of plan for the whole of 2 weeks, and then we kind of work on majorly projects. So when I started out, I was working primarily fixing some of the bugs that were there in the system. And as I ramped up and understood the system more, I have been allotted some projects. So I've worked on multiple projects, and yeah. that is it. So but my work life, like to put it there, it is very flexible. So like I can take breaks in between, and the only thing is that the meetings that are arranged, I'll just have to attend them. And they're also like, in a way, I can tell you that the work life balance is very sweet. If you It's you who decide your work life balance, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have to you plan your day accordingly. If you know your system well enough, then you can actually get a lot of stuff done in just 8 hours, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I can work more than 8 hours a day. That's some days I may have to push myself because there are more tasks pending, right? But in general, it averages out to be about 8 hours.
That's really sweet because most of the people working in corporate, they really struggle with time management. They really struggle with life to work balancing and all. And hearing that you've been doing pretty well, it makes me also really happy, right? Apart from that, like you gave the description of your job pretty well, and I hope our viewers also understood like what kind of work you are doing. But can you just describe some of your projects so that a layman could also understand?
Yeah, cool, definitely. So, like I told you, I work at Uber, right? So when I
Mm-hmm.
joined, I was working like you must be familiar about Uber Eats.
Yeah, yeah.
That is one of our major subsidiary. Like Uber has mainly two major branches. There are many more, but two you could say two major sources of revenue. One comes from delivery, other from mobility, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like when I joined in, like basically the team that I'm in is called customer obsession. That's primarily focused towards attending to customers' needs. Like when we provide support, right? So
Mm-hmm.
imagine like you ordered something and it didn't arrive on time, or it was missing some items. So you are a dissatisfied customer, right? And you want to get your stuff done. So how we like basically what I was working on is that uh, it's a cost cutting center. Basically what I'm working on is that you file a ticket, right? Like you'll go to the help center. Basically you have some problem with the order, so you go to the help center and you request that these particular stuffs were not happening. So what ends up happening is that there are two things, there are two ways in which we can refund you or get your problems resolved. One is like by automating the process, or let's say you see that you have a problem with this particular order, and you just like you must have used them as well, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
when you
Uh-huh.
see that you have a problem, you
Yeah.
kind of go to the help center and kind of request for a help, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what we do is basically we can automate this process or have an agent work on this process. So basically what can end up happening is that the agent can look into your problem, and then they can try to resolve your problem, right? But what ends up happening is that if you kind of create a contact, it's a cost center, because like
Mm-hmm.
it costs us to
Yeah, yeah,
make
yeah,
that
yeah. Absolutely.
and
Mm-hmm.
have the agent solve them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I was doing was that there was this flow which was not automated, which
Mm-hmm.
required the agent to
Mm-hmm.
resolve them manually. And having this automation would allow us to save a lot, because agents had to like manually go and refund them based on what you had ordered, right? So we were just automating this process. So that was the first project that I was working on, and yeah, that's completely rolled out in all of the world. So everyone's
That's
kind of using that.
that's very interesting. Like speaking of automation, right? Like the future of technology, like it's flowing towards that direction, right? So, what is your take, and like how do you think the world of technology is gonna look like in 10 years?
I think yeah, that's something that made internet so big, because like
Mm-hmm.
it adds efficiency. So human
Mm-hmm.
beings, like anything and everything that we invent, it kind of has to go towards the direction where we are creating efficiencies. Like everything is
Mm-hmm.
becoming more efficient, right? Like Uber also solves a problem, which is hailing a cab. Like you just click a button and then the cab
Mm-hmm.
comes to your doorstep, right? And then even the same thing with food. We kind of saw that there are a lot of stuff which does not require to be like archaic and can be, solved very simply. This is what the whole of technology does. It kind of creates efficiencies, right? So, and that's the same thing that, I think the whole world is moving towards as well. Connecting with people is so much simpler now. I think the pandemic also kind of exposed all the vulnerabilities that were there with the whole, system, and we kind of got more effective at communicating with each other without having to be together. And we saw that, a lot of the stuff does not actually require us to be moving around. Like the same thing with our job. So I can be,
Mhm.
working. Like I am working from a place which is very far away from where I'm actually making an impact, right? And that's
Yeah, yeah.
totally because of the way the whole technology is structured around the whole thing. So that's going to be, uh, I think, the next big thing. Like everything kind of moving towards automation, everything becoming much more efficient, and that's what companies do as well. They kind of create efficiencies.
Yeah, yeah. So you beautifully summarized the whole thing. You also gave us your idea about how the technological side is gonna look like in 10 years. So this channel that I'm working on is dedicated for freshers. Any tips for freshers uh, for interviews, for landing a job at Uber, like some tips, some tricks.
Yeah, definitely. I will help you with that. So I've seen a lot of folks who, are not from like tier one colleges as well, who make it big. So it's totally up to you to, uh, upskill yourself. So I think that's really important. One thing is that you need to focus on, uh, so how people end up landing a job is that whether so one way is if the companies visit your campus and then you kind of get through the whole placement process. So that's one way, and the other is through referrals. So a lot of companies, they don't actually go to a lot of other colleges. So you might have to take the other route, that is through referrals. So anyone, like even I can refer, like any employee at Uber can refer you for a role. So
Mhm,
uh, if there are openings, that is. And basically what tip I can give you, like as a fresher, is if you can, build your resume, your portfolio in such a way that that shows that you're really passionate about tech. Because like working in tech, I think it's I think a lot draining on your health as well, because it's kind of mundane, you would say, like sometimes, because you're kind of working long hours sitting, and that's basically what you do, right? You code.
mhm.
So it tests your patience, and you have to be really patient while you're working as well. And you need to collaborate, and you need to have that attitude early on. And regarding what you have to go through when you are sitting in the interview, is like you need to have really good coding skills. So basically what companies look at when you start out is they look for your coding proficiency. So
Mhm,
you have to sit through a very competitive coding round, which
mhm,
comprises of some questions, so which are medium to difficult, hard difficulty. So
mhm.
one good advice that I can give you is that you can start early on, like from second year. So you should uh, try your hands with these coding problems that are there in some major platforms. Like there are a lot of platforms where you can practice coding. One such platform is Lead Code. Other, I would say, Lead Code would suffice actually for all the major companies.
Mhm.
So once you go through them, once you practice and upskill your DSA and coding skills, you'd be, I think, fairly well equipped for the coding interviews. So that is like required for you to have like really good data structure and algorithm skills. Yep.
So, Saurav, thank you for giving your precious time to me today. Your insight was pretty helpful, and I hope it would help like thousands of students that are subscribed to this channel and those students viewing this podcast. So, I'd like to thank you, and I hope the cold that you are suffering from, I hope that this heals
Yeah.
soon too,
Yeah.
because the holidays are also the holiday season is also coming through, and like you like want to enjoy the holidays, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'll be fine in some time. So thank you about that.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you for your time again. I hope we'll see each other in some other podcast episode. But
Yep.
for now, thank you for your time. Thank you again.
Thank you, man.